Hello and welcome to Sports News Africa, the home of Africa's sporting conversation. Let's take a look at the headlines. Kenyan runner Rita Jeptoo hits back at positive doping test claims. Sunderland FC finances the construction of a sports park in Tanzania. And rugby comes to the Central African football mad nation of Gabon. Thank you for joining us on Sports News Africa. I'm Temeskin Debesai. Kenyan marathon runner Rita Jeptoo has requested for her B sample to be tested after it emerged last weekend that she had failed her A sample in a routine doping test. Jeptoo was due to receive the 2013-14 World Marathon Major Series Award, but that has now been postponed pending the outcome of an investigation.
Two-time Boston and Chicago Marathon champion Rita Jeptoo, whose A sample for an out-of-competition drug test proved positive for EPO, a blood-boosting drug, has requested an analysis of her B sample in efforts to clear her name. According to Athletics Kenya, the athlete, who spent most of her day at the headquarters in Nairobi, met Athletics Kenya's Medical and Anti-Doping Commission and was formally notified of the finding from the A sample. Athletics Kenya Vice President David Okeyo said the Kenyan athletics body are taking the doping issue seriously and want to prove to the world that Kenyan athletes do not cheat.
Athletics Kenya is taking this matter very seriously, and we would like to prove to the world that we are not lying on things that we know are bad. We are taking doping issues very seriously, and I want to repeat, should anything, the case of Rita becomes if it is not supported by any facts as required by the rules of doping, AK will take very drastic action.
The test for B sample has not been scheduled yet, but it will be the only way to determine the future of the 33-year-old Kenyan athlete. Jeptoo was scheduled to receive the $500,000 World Marathon Majors 2013-2014 series winner's check in New York last Sunday. News of her failure of the test spread like bushfire last Friday, and the World Marathon Majors ceremony has been indefinitely postponed. A B is conducted as an assurance in the event of contamination or unforeseen irregularities involving the A sample. Jeptoo is the first high-profile Kenyan athlete to fail a doping test, and the doping tag may have shattered the credibility of Kenyan marathoners.
Arsenal, Manchester United and Liverpool are some of the big English Premier League teams that football fans in Africa have been known to root for. But it is another club from the northeast of England that is gaining grounds in Tanzania. Sunderland FC have teamed up with the Tanzanian Football Federation in the construction of a new sports facility in Dar es Salaam.
President Jakaya Kikwete of Tanzania on Tuesday officiated the groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of a sports park in Dar es Salaam. The project is financed by English Premier League club Sunderland Football Club in conjunction with Symbion Power, a US-based power company. The project is part of Sunderland FC's commitment to create a football development program in the country. President Kikwete was joined by Sunderland FC Chief Executive Officer Margaret Brain, the club's commercial director Paul Hinks, and the chief executive officer of Symbion Power. On her part, Margaret Brain said the football development program will help more youths discover their talents in football.
Well, this is the first phase of a two-phase project, and the first phase is for the whole community. The second phase is going to be for the more elite footballers, more elite sports personnel, to try to enhance them, make them better footballers for this beautiful game and the beautiful country.
The park, which will inherit the president's name, will include a full-size 3G artificial surface football pitch, a 5-a-side pitch, 2-tier bleacher sitting, 2 sand-based pitches and 2 basketball courts. Brain added that the club's long-term goal is to introduce European League style of football to the entire African continent.
We have a partnership already with the Tanzania Tourist Board, and we're helping to encourage tourism into Tanzania as well. We also have partnerships in South Africa and also in Ghana as well. So we're continuing to work on the Sunderland, introduce Sunderland into the African continent.
Tanzania Football Federation, through its president Jamal Malinzi, appreciated Sunderland's A.F.C. commitment to helping revive the country's lost football glory.
Tunashukuru Sunderland kwa kujitolea, kutoa utaalamu wao, kutoa fedha.
I thank Sunderland for devoting themselves and providing their skills and giving their money. To us TFF, this is a big challenge, and the president has given us a big task not to let this project become a white elephant and just remain a field. This project must give us new Sunday Manyalas, just like the president said.
Tanzania is becoming a hotspot for football in the East African region. The entrance of Brazilian players and a coach in the local league indicates the country's determination to bring up some of the best footballers on the continent. The project is set for completion in early 2015.
To rugby next, and this is a sport that has so far had very little following in some parts of Central Africa. But that is gradually changing. Gabon is the latest to launch a new rugby union league in a country that is mad about football.
In a world where football is king, a different kind of sport with a different kind of ball is beginning to take shape. Here in Gabon, rugby has a spring in its step, with a new league kicking off this season in the capital, Libreville.
I play rugby firstly for pleasure. I discovered it 14 years ago today. So for me it's a joy, a real joy.
In all, 6 teams from the capital will compete in the first ever championship. Not since the 1950s, when Gabon was still a French colony, has rugby been taken this seriously.
We want to set up rugby clubs in Libreville and in the regions, I think maybe in Port-Gentil, and then create federations in the regions to be able to integrate with the Confederation of African Rugby, and then on an international level.
Rugby has a long way to go here before it reaches the heights of popularity of football. With only 250 players and 1 league, the sport can't even boast a national team.
It's not very well known. I don't know if we have a national team, but much like other disciplines, it's important that rugby be developed in Gabon. I know there's an infrastructure for it, but I haven't seen a national team play any matches.
Rugby fans will have to wait for their moment on the international stage. For now, it's back to training and the task of converting new recruits to the art of the oval.
Welcome back to Sports News Africa. A Sierra Leonean striker who plays in the Swedish league has just scored one of the fastest ever hat-tricks in football. Al-Hassan Kamara signed off with 3 goals in the space of 7 minutes on the last day of the season as Örebro went on to beat Häcken 5-2. Kamara's hat-trick also took his goals tally to 14 for the season. Ethiopia's last game in the Africa Cup of Nations qualifier came against a Mali side that had beaten them 2-0 in Addis Ababa. So when the Ethiopian coach dropped 4 of the squad's key players for the return leg, it was a mighty gamble for Mariano Barreto. But that gamble paid off as Ethiopia sprung a surprise victory to bag all 3 points and keep its hopes of qualifications alive.
Ethiopia took everyone by surprise with a 3-2 victory over Mali in their away 2015 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier match played in Bamako a few weeks ago. The victory against Mali was, according to fans, a revenge for their 2-0 defeat by Mali on home turf in Addis Ababa last month. The man responsible for this remarkable comeback, coach Mariano Barreto, who had been under sharp criticism from fans and sports analysts for dropping 4 key players from the lineup, said his decision, though risky, paid off.
As you see, there are many new players. The new blood are coming, especially some young boys. I know for some people it's confused because some of my players are not playing in the clubs. It's true, but I know these players. This is my challenge for the future of Ethiopia. They are young, this is why they are here.
The 57-year-old Portuguese who replaced Siunet Bisho as the Walia Ibex coach 8 months ago said he is confident his team will gain ground and qualify for the 2015's AFCON.
We have to work hardly because we have to believe, like we make in Mali. We have to believe, we have to try to don't make the mistakes we made before. They are growing, most of them they are understanding, and I think the future is nice future.
Until the win against Mali, the Walia Ibex had a disappointing losing streak in the opening qualifiers, which placed it at the bottom of Group B. Barreto reassured fans of the team's continued commitment for excellence, but appealed for their support no matter the outcome of matches.
The people have to understand. They cannot ask they win all the match. They will win. They need times. And especially they need opportunity. You understand? So what they show is not so much difference, because the people cannot be happy only when we win. You have to understand why we lose. Because you cannot evaluate only because the score. You have to evaluate what they are doing in the field.
Barreto, who's had an experience of managing an African nation before, having taken over as Ghana coach in 2003, also said his experience so far coaching the Horn of African country has been none like he's had before.
Fantastic, wonderful country. I have a lot of experience in Russia, in Saudi Arabia, in Ghana. But I never found people like your country. This is the only things make me fight every day, because your people deserve the best. It's not because 2-3 guys who are not working, always they sabotage, they make sabotage against our work, I will stop. No, I will make everything to help my players.
Algeria tops Group B with 12 points. Mali stays second with 6 points, while Ethiopia and Malawi both have 3 points.
Meanwhile, in women's football, the Cameroonian national team have put their heartache of losing out to Nigeria in the African Championship behind them. All eyes now turn to the 2015 World Cup, which will take place in Canada. The indomitable Lionesses have already set up camp in preparations for the global showpiece next summer.
After emerging second after losing to Nigeria 2-0 in the finals of the just concluded Africa Women's Championship in Namibia, the Cameroon team, the Lionesses, have gone to camp in readiness for the 2015 Women's World Cup scheduled for Canada. The Lionesses, who missed their moment of glory to Nigeria, have vowed to come out on top in Canada. Head coach Ngasho Eno said despite the loss to Nigeria, he was still very proud of his team for making it to the finals.
I'm satisfied with all the achievements we've been having before and after. I think that's the reason why we were able to reach the finals during the Nations Cup.
He added the preparations for the 2015 World Cup tournament have begun, and there was no time to waste given the task ahead of them.
We are working on the program already. In this ahead we shall come out with a program that will permit us to prepare very well before the beginning of the World Cup.
But Coach now is well aware the chances of winning the World Cup in Canada might not be very high, but would still use the tournament as a learning experience.
So we are going to Canada to win the World Cup. No, we are going there to learn. We are going there to get a bit of experience, especially because Cameroon will be organizing the Nations Cup in 2016.
The Lionesses' performance in Namibia won them new fans in the country such as Adolf Kopala and Janshi Shea.
I am very happy that they have paid the Lionesses match bonuses, and I hope this kind of situation will not come again, and they can now concentrate for the upcoming World Cup in Canada.
Cameroon has a nice football female team, and for the upcoming World Cup, all they need now is just some friendly matches and the support from the government so that they can go ahead. So all of us will have to support them so that we'll go ahead and come up with something good for us.
And that's it for today on Sports News Africa. We'll be back again tomorrow with more stories from Africa and elsewhere. Bye for now.